Chapter 562. After Anon left, intelligence agents flooded in as if it was a shift change. Yuder, we heard you took a secret mission and got injured. Is it true? Externally, he was supposed to be on leave for personal reasons, but it was obvious how they had found out. Gakane, who was caught between the elder siblings and seemed half out of his mind, was likely the source of the information. Getting whatever information they wanted without regard for the means is a good quality for an intelligence agent. But perhaps I should give Gakane more training so he isn't so easily swayed by his colleagues. In the end, he decided to let it go. At least it appeared that Gakane's involvement in the secret mission hadn't been discovered. Kana, who had seen a lot of blood, was still in the medicinal division, but other than being trained, Gakane had no significant injuries, so it didn't seem like he had been through anything major. From Yuder's perspective, who had expended a lot to save Gakane, it was a huge relief. Not long ago, he had sustained life-threatening injuries in the West. Another injury would likely resulted in a condition far more serious than Kana's current state. Why aren't you answering? Is it true? I can't answer. Why? Because it's a secret. So, it is true. He wondered if they came to protest that only Gakane was called in from among the intelligence agents, but instead they gifted Yuder some snacks. It was butter cookies, apparently popular in the capital these days. The elder siblings teased Devran, who had turned bright red, saying it was the first time he would ever bought such an awkward gift. They all shared the cookies and had a brief exchange of information about the awakeners from the star of Nagran they had each been observing. Firstly, they had been exceptionally well behaved, aside from when they went to treat the crown prince. No suspicious actions like drinking or causing a scene. Their outings were almost solely for buying groceries. They seemed pious enough to be considered pilgrims, and that was indeed how they were perceived by those around them. But no matter how quietly they live, people talk amongst themselves, and I happen to be very good at eavesdropping. Devran, who had been highly praised for his keen observational skills and became an intelligence agent, lifted his chin confidently. I can guarantee that one of them is being ostracized. Really? How did you find out? Devran gleefully answered his question. I have been helping out at the grocery store they frequently visit whenever I have some free time, observing them. Except for the old man who they call Sage, the four of them usually shop at specific times, making them easy to observe. Wow, you still have the energy to do such tasks even after cavalry training? Impressive, Devran. What are you talking about? Do you know how hard it's been to skip training without getting caught? Devran caught Yuder's eye and stopped short, picking up on the social cues. Right, if he remembers who drafted that training program, he would better watch what he says. But Yuder decided to generously let it go. Training was important, but fieldwork for intelligence was even more so. Rowan knew Devran was skipping training as long as he didn't admit it, which was impressive in its own way. Anyway, out of the four is always left out of the conversations. He doesn't seem to fit in with the group. The other three also seem to somewhat ignore him. Is it a personality issue? Devran frowned at the question. No, that might be part of it, but it seems to be more about his abilities. Abilities? Of course, people won't talk about it openly, but there is a certain atmosphere when awakeners discuss their abilities. Everyone knows that, right? Devran looked at them as if to say they should obviously know. The one being ostracized has a power that others find highly repulsive. That much is clear. Devran said he had only deduced that much about the reason for the ostracism. Yuder pondered for a moment before speaking. Devran, can you describe the appearance of the guy who's being ostracized? Huh? Sure. He looks a bit red-skinned, like someone of southern descent. and he has a long scar on one ear. He looks somewhat timid, but I haven't heard anyone call him by his name yet. He is always on the outskirts, so I haven't had a chance to hear his name. It was certain. The awakener being ostracized within the group was undoubtedly the future sage that Yuder knew. But wasn't that guy's ability just to mildly influence other people's moods? He was an individual who used his words well to make his rather mundane power effective. But why was he being ostracized for it? Could it be that the ability I know isn't his real power? He hadn't even considered that the confession he had received before death could be a lie. Clearly, he needed to investigate further. Could you focus more on learning about him in the future? The ostracized guy? Why? There are some points that concern me. You have given me information I didn't have before. It might be a bit of a burden, but please do so. Hearing that he had provided information even Yuder didn't know, Devron's face flushed slightly with emotion. The elder siblings caught on and teased him, but Devron paid them no mind. All right, leave it to me. Beside the enthusiastic Devron, Gakane mumbled with less confidence. I have only been able to know when those guys come and go because I have placed shadows on them. So I haven't really delved deeper. What should I do? You have been busy lately, it's fine. Still, I did find out that lately they have been spending more time and going out frequently to the palace than when we first started watching them. Though it seems like useless information now, since they haven't returned to their lodging for days. No, Gakane. Thanks to you, we have the courage to make a move. Pretending to scold him for only playing around, the elder siblings patted Gakane's shoulder. Gakane looked worried as he asked, Courage? What courage? What can we do with these powers? The siblings, who had developed their abilities to not only possess unparalleled strength but also to teleport objects on their own, grinned wickedly. If they haven't returned home in days, and Gakane's power lets us know who's coming and going, isn't this the perfect time to sneak in for a little observation? That's way too dangerous. So, we are just going to miss the opportunity? Yuder, say something. Yuder took a moment to consider and finally made up his mind. Indeed, this seems like the most opportune time to take action. See, I knew Yuder would agree. Trust us, we are completely confident. Then I will leave the task to the three of you, and if possible, bring back small items from there. Kana may be able to help us with them. Understood. The siblings readily agreed. The intelligence agents, having finished all the snacks, each left a comment of concern for Yuder's health before leaving the room. Only Gakane remained, seeming a bit hesitant. Gakane, do you have something to say? It's about the secret mission we just completed. You don't have to apologize for almost blowing our cover to Hin and Finn. No, it's not that. Yuder wondered what else Gakane could have on his mind, sensing that it was something entirely different. After a moment of hesitation, Gakane clenched his fist and spoke. What do you think? Would Sir Nathan Zuckerman be willing to teach me swordsmanship? Nathan Zuckerman? During this mission, I noticed he is incredibly skilled with a sword. I have never seen a knight so proficient. Right. Nathan Zuckerman did defeat the final monster on his own. He must have displayed his true skills. Seeing Gakane's eyes filled with genuine admiration, it was evident that he discovered Nathan Zuckerman's mastery of the sword. I know I'm not the member of the Paleta Knights, so it might not be appropriate for me to ask, but I still want to. The thing is, I don't know where to find him usually. I have been looking, but I haven't seen him. Being cashier's assistant, Yuder had often seen Nathan Zuckerman. Gakane seemed to be banking on it. Gakane had always been more obsessed with becoming stronger than any other member. Although he had primarily focused on training his shadow clone, considering his past efforts to become a knight, It seemed possible he had intentionally avoiding swordsmanship. If he is genuinely willing to learn, Kishir would undoubtedly facilitate it. Kishir, more than anyone else, encouraged the growth of his subordinates and enjoyed teaching himself. Considering this, Yudir thought that Nathan Zuckerman, who had reached the pinnacle under such a person, was unlikely to refuse. All right, I will pass the word along when I see him. Thank you. Gakane got up, his face blooming like a freshly watered rose. He was about to leave in high spirits when, unluckily, he also bumped into Kishir standing right outside the door. Gakane froze in surprise. Commander, I didn't know you were there. I apologize. It's all right. You seem to have had a pleasant conversation. Well, it's not confirmed yet, but Yudir agreed to help me with a request. Kishir's eyes softened as he looked at Gakane. Good to hear. Yes, I will take my leave now. Yudir, rest well. ... After Gakane left, the tall man stepped over the threshold, which felt unusually small compared to his stature, making a one-person room feel like it was made for half a person. Yudir observed Kishir's pristine face that showed no signs of fatigue despite having recently received divine power from Lusan. How was your trip to the palace? Good. His Majesty said he wants to see you once you are fully recovered. It seems he wants to thank you properly. Kishir's answer was confident with his usual demeanor. Yudir continued to observe him while taking in the faint fragrance that emanated from him the moment he sat down. Even though his demeanor seemed utterly calm, was that truly the case on the inside as well? Yudir had never felt the need for this uncontrollable connection as much as he did right now. And the moment Kishir seemed to sense something strange and looked up to meet his gaze, Yudir felt something intensely grip and release his chest in an extremely brief moment. It was emotion. However, it wasn't Yudir's emotion. The intensity of the feeling was so strong that it felt almost like pain, and Yudir was perplexed upon realizing that such powerful emotions were storming within the man who appeared so beautiful and tranquil.